code your own game. You can learn how to build things. You can learn how to build things, make things. You can sell them online, make bank. So it's about, are you being productive, or are we just killing time, wasting time? These things are not equal. And being able to talk with your kids about this. So when we started doing this in our house, we had to sit down with our kids. Now, my kids were younger at the time, so I was able to set the structure early. It's a lot easier letting out than it is pulling in. But when you are pulling in, being able to have the sit down and talk with your kids about what they think. You want to have their input with this. The basketball I got was actually from a woman who, she had 4 kids, and she found like, she got home and all the kids were always on their devices. She called family meeting, everybody sit down. She said, I want to have a strong family. I want to have, in order to do that, we need to have good communication. We need to have like a strong nucleus. But what I see right now is that we all get home and everybody takes out their devices, and we're not communicating with each other. That's going to separate. We're already so busy, we're moving around all different sports and games, and everything's so busy. Use your devices out there. When you're here, we need to engage more. Would you guys agree? Can we try that? Can we do that? Yeah. So that's where she had her kids buy into doing basketball. This started when they were in high school. They went through college. Basketball, when they got home, they just take the phones out, put it in the basket. That's where it is. Through college, some of them have kids now. Every time they come home, devices come out, put it in the basket. That is not easy in the beginning, but once you stay consistent with it and explain why and get their buy-in so they understand why, and maybe not even use that rule, maybe you can go up with your own and have the buy-in to it. Once they have the buy-in, then they'll understand. It's different than like, because I said so. You want to have that explanation to it. And again, explaining that not all screen time is the same. You want to make sure that you are being productive with it, but also not taking away from the other factors out there. Now, when it comes to socializing, some kids will sit there and be like, I don't like people. Maybe you have social anxiety. What they found, even with social anxiety, high face-to-face interaction, more screen time, less happy. Low face-to-face interaction, more screen time, even less happy. It actually made more of an impact there. Just because something makes you feel uncomfortable doesn't mean you should avoid it altogether. What can we do as parents? Make sure that we lead by example, because they're watching us. 6,000 kids were surveyed, over half thought their parents spent too much time on the screens. 30% felt neglected. Majority of parents actually agreed with them. We need to lead by example. We do this. My wife and I, we went on a vacation together. We went to Seattle, right in Pike Place, where they have like the fish market, and the first Starbucks is right there. We walked in the first Starbucks, that's the picture I took, right there. Not a stock photo, because that's what we do. You have time, you take it out. Just be aware of it. Maybe even track that screen time for yourself. Track it for your kids. That's one of the challenges I do. I say with one setting, find screen time, track it for 1 week. Now, if you're using it for like GPS and stuff like that, no, we're not counting that. But just recreational time, yes. Want to come watching TV, gaming, track it for 1 week. For yourself as well as for your kids. Take that number, the whole number for the week, take that number, divide it by 7, so you get average per day. And then quantify it out for the year. At 2 hours a day, only 2 hours a day. 2 times 365 comes out to a little 700, divided by 24 comes out to just over 30. That means that at only 2 hours a day, throughout the course of the year, that adds up to a month worth of time. No sleeping. An entire month worth of time staring at that screen. That's where a lot of people are like, I don't have time. Like, depends on what you're doing with it. But these are the things that we need to think about. It's a lot of time, a lot of ways. When it comes to communication, 60-65% of communication is nonverbal. If you include tone, the number jumps from 90-95% on what you say, but how you say it. So when you're sending things like texts and emails and messages and things like that, a lot of communication isn't coming across. Has anyone here sent or received a message that was misinterpreted and caused them conflict? Yeah, it's easy, right? I give you the example of the kids, like, you just text me, you just text me, what's your name, sir? Jim. Jim, you text me, you say, Rob, you're so stupid. Rob, you're so stupid. That's it. That's open for interpretation, right? If I don't put a little LOL, a little JK, a little winky face, I don't know if it means like, Rob, you're so stupid. Rob, you're so stupid. It's open for interpretation. At this point, how do I respond? What do? It depends on my mood. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm stupid, you're stupider. That's right, goals are off. No, instead of going to you, I'll just post to everybody else about you. Because that's easier. Maybe I troll for sympathy. Have you seen people do that? Posting really vague things like, some people are so mean, sad face. What are you looking for? Someone to send a little picture of a cat on a tree limb? Hang in there. Like, that's not going to solve the problem. When I tell kids, if you're getting a text or message making you upset first thing, take your phone, put it down. Also what we want to do, right? Is want to pick it up. I hate everybody. Put down the phone, calm down. I think parents, sometimes we can do that as well. If we get upset, especially when you hear something, you're like, why would they do this? And we're very quick to judge, vent out, post things out there. We don't know the whole story yet. And also, sometimes we post things out there, we think, oh, I didn't think about that part. That's already out there. Instead, put it down, calm down. Once you're calm, I tell the kids, go and actually talk to them. I go and talk to Jim. Face to face, that makes me feel uncomfortable. Good. Yeah, because in life, there's going to be a lot of times you're going to feel uncomfortable, right? When it comes to our kids, we need to teach them how to work through that. It's not something to run from, it's something to work through. It's almost like, do you guys know that a lobster, the shell doesn't actually grow? It grows within the shell until the shell gets too small, feels uncomfortable, buries itself in rocks, sheds all the shells, enters new shell. Grows inside that shell until the shell gets too small, feels uncomfortable, buries itself in rocks, sheds all the shells, enters new shell. So how does the lobster know it's time to grow? Feels uncomfortable. So warning, it's one of those signs really. I feel uncomfortable, good. That's a sign that this is time to grow. How to move forward. How to get better. And us as parents, we can teach them and coach them through this. Make sure they're putting it down and actually going and talking. Some kids will say, can I just text them? No. You can call them, you can FaceTime, text them. No. You gotta try to work out a conflict via text or email. It doesn't work. What happened? Well, you need to push mark send. Now it happens. I wait. Are we patient? No. So now I'm impatient, I'm just waiting. You haven't responded back yet, Jim. Why haven't you responded? Now I'm getting all wrapped up. I'm getting all upset. Is that going to help the situation? Nope. It just makes it worse. And now we're putting in our own thoughts, right? I just picture Jim getting in the text like, loser. Is that what's happening? Probably not. We put our own emotions in there. My wife the other day, she got a text message from a coworker. Oh my God, I'm like, what is she saying? Just to let her okay. Some people get annoyed. They're like, what, I'm not working? Oh? It's like, no, I just know what she's saying. She's like, hey. I'm like, I don't see the head bob in there at all. You're putting your own emotions in there, and that's what we do. So put down, calm down, and then get that clarification. It's often not as bad as you think it is. Speaking of communication, another big thing I try to teach kids is that there's a difference between conversation and debate. This is a big thing that has happened, especially since 2020, because our kids are learning communication skills, how to work through things. What happens if we have a disagreement on something, okay? I want you to think conversation, not debate. What's the difference? The goal. The goal of conversation is to ask questions and learn from each other. The goal of a debate is to win, and that's what you see online. Online, it's like, here's why I'm right, why you're wrong, and why you're stupid. You have a whole bunch of like-minded people that go, yeah! You know, this person goes, oh yeah, well here's why you're wrong, why I'm right, why you're stupid. You have a whole bunch of like-minded people that go, yeah! They start yelling back and forth, and if you're internet trolls, you know who you are. Those people sit there, throw a few comments in, a little gas on the fire, sit back, watch it burn. Is that effective? No. That's why I want them to think conversation, not debate. Conversation is effective communication. In order to do that, you need to ask questions and actually listen to the answer. Why? You might actually learn something. Everybody has different knowledge. Knowledge is made up of formal education, personal experience, outside influences. You have different experiences than me. Which means that if you see something, you might look at it and you're interpreting it through your personal knowledge. I'm looking at it through my personal knowledge. You're seeing it through your personal knowledge. We all might look at the same thing. We all see something a little different. Well, who's right? Ha, me! No, it's because that's all you know so far. That's why instead of we dig in our heels and we're like, no, I need to be right. No, you need to be willing to learn, which means you have to be willing to be wrong. I know. You ever been wrong before? Oh, it's terrible, horrible. No, it's not. That's what it feels like when you learn that you're wrong. When you learn that you're wrong, that's the embarrassing part. But you were wrong the whole time you thought that thing. Even over here, you know, when you thought you were right before you learned that you were wrong, how'd it feel over here? It felt the same as being right. So what else do you think you're right about that you might be wrong about? You just don't know yet. Maybe you're not 100% right. Maybe you're not 100% wrong. Let's let go needing to be right and more about wanting to learn and get the right answer. Like Thomas Edison, famous inventor, made a light bulb, right? Failed 2,000 times. He's like, I didn't fail 2,000 times. I just found 2,000 ways of not to make a light bulb. Because every time I did it, I learned something better. And that's what, when it comes to our kids, I'm like, you have to stop digging in those heels and be willing to learn, be open to learning, looking at things from a different angle. Like, you can try this right now. Take your finger, put it over your head, just like this. Needs to be, next finger needs to be up over the head in order for this to work. So go clockwise, which is to the right. Look up at your hand, see always going. Bend an elbow, have the hand go down, down, down below your chin. Look down at it, you'll see it's going counterclockwise. Alright, if it hasn't worked, you haven't figured it out yet, probably not going to get it. Make it easier. Sometimes you might see something one way, they see it a different way. What's the answer? 4, 3, my perspective is 7. Sometimes we all might be right and all might be wrong. I think being able to take that step back, and you're like, this is what I know, but you see something different, so what do you see that I don't see? Now I'm able to gain your knowledge, and you're able to gain my knowledge, and then we can all ask questions, learn from each other, and get a lot smarter. And that's the goal. Sometimes what gets posted is just emotional harm. This comes in different forms, everything from hateful posting, spreading rumors, excluding people. Excluding is an interesting one because sometimes it will happen. Maybe a group of kids that are at your house and everybody's sitting there texting or snapping with somebody else that's at a different party and this person's not invited to that party, and all of a sudden you're creating a bunch of drama that goes on. So once again, having the basketball, you avoid the drama part and you can just have fun. Masquerading, creating fake profiles, creating is also roasting. Now understand when it comes to this, it's easy. People sit there and they post these things. And why? I think it's because we're protecting our screens. We're living through screens now. There's a story that I was reading the other day. There's an airline down in Australia. It's kind of like a budget airline, almost like a Frontier or Spirit, you know, if you're familiar with those. So they had this budget airline down there, and there was a woman on the plane that she needed a wheelchair. Need a wheelchair. They said, yeah, you want the wheelchair? $50. We only accept cash. She's like, normally, they provide you with one and you don't have to pay anything. She's like, well, I don't have $50 cash. I'm like, well, then you don't have a wheelchair. She's like, I can have a credit card like you, only cash. So then the video surfaced of her stumbling and crawling off the plane. Horrible PR for the airline, which is good, rightfully so. But then you also have to take a step back and be like, we have people that are willing to take their phones out and videotape this. Why wouldn't you help in that situation? You see somebody there, and this is where the common decency is like, this is reality, this is entertainment. Oh my God, it's so wrong, I need to post this out there. As opposed to, hey, you know what, I got $50, here. As opposed to, hey, let me help you. You can still record that. Still be bad PR for the plane. better story. We're protecting that stream. 24/7 from anywhere, anytime. You're doing it anonymously, but you don't see the actual hurt. You don't see the damage that you're actually causing. Everybody has their personal truth. You don't know what the other person's dealing with. You know what it's like at home. You know what it's like in their head. You don't know. They have suffer from anxiety or depression. You don't know. You might think it's no big deal. It's them. Might be everything. We need to make sure that we're teaching our kids, like, just because you're typing something, if you're seeing that, you don't see the actual effect. You're protected through that screen. For parents, there's great monitoring out there. One of my favorites is the Bark app, B-A-R-K. Bark, you can actually monitor for things like bullying. You can also look at what websites they're going to, other messaging and things like that, and they'll basically, certain keywords will flag. So it takes a little tinkering to figure out, like, finding that balance, but it allows you to be able to monitor this. Some parents look at monitoring and they're like, is it okay to monitor? Is it an invasion of privacy? I look at it, again, driving a car, right? Are you just handing the keys or are you sitting in the passenger seat? You know your kids. Maybe it's one of those, you have my trust until you don't, and here's what's going to happen if you don't, if you lose it. But depending on the age, especially if they're younger, I'm 100% okay with that monitor and seeing what's going on. I tell the kids, you've heard the golden rule, treat others as you want to be treated. Let's bring it to the golden rule 2.0, which is post of others you want to post about yourself and those that you care about. If everybody did that, you're going to be a much safer place. Now, this doesn't help when it comes to bullying, because when it comes to bullying is, the intent behind it is to hurt somebody. So it's not that I'm like, oh, I didn't mean that. And it's like, oh, I meant that. So you can't be like, hey, you're making them feel bad. Yeah, I was trying to do that. I was trying to make them feel bad and make myself feel bad. Now, when it comes to bullying, it's typically an imbalance of power, someone trying to have power over you, and something that's typically repetitive over time. It's not like just, someone saying one bad thing one time, like, you gotta be able to work through that. But if they're being targeted, and it happens in different forms, whether it's being emotional or putting people against them, taking a picture and posting stuff out there. The intent matters. Well, what happens if your kid's being targeted? What can they do? They can ignore it, you can block them, you can report to the social media channels. If it's happening within the school, you can't bring it to the school's attention. Understand from there, the school then takes the reins from there. You can't find what happened to them? That's legally they can't tell you that. But what you can do is build up your kid. The best thing, I think, is by teaching them how to keep your power with kindness. You might have heard kill with kindness. Kill with kindness. Has anyone ever heard that before? Alright, who thinks it works? Who thinks it doesn't work? How does it work? How's it supposed to work? Kill with kindness? Really? Dude punch in the face? Love you! That's not gonna help. That's not what they're talking about. Here's what it actually means. Kill with kindness. Bullying is an imbalance of power. Alright, how do they get that power? Because you give it to them. How do you give it to them? Your reaction. You ever have any brothers and sisters? You ever try to annoy them? You sit there I'm not touching you, stop it, okay? Oh, when you react, Mom's power. You want that reaction. That's when you get the power. Bullying the same thing. If I make fun of me right now, most likely be you're bald, because people are very original. At that point, how do I respond? What do I do? Shut up. If that's my response, basically you get power over me. No. You gotta give them the opposite reaction. Right? You're bald. I like to think of it more as hair follicle challenge, but you got it. You know what? You're bald. You have a great head of hair. You can style all different ways. What are you gonna say? Thank you. Right? So it's you're stupid. I know, right? So dumb. That's why I was cool. Trying to get smart. You're so smart. What are they gonna say? Nuh-uh. You're ugly. I know. It's like the sophomore stage, lasting forever. You gotta be one of those really late bloomers. It's about giving, you don't believe it, but understanding what they're trying to do. They're trying to get your power. It's up to you if you want to give it to them. I like coaching kids of like, okay, why are they doing this? Something's going on there. They're trying to get your power. It's kind of silly, right? Yeah, you get to keep your power in that part. That's why it's not about killing it with kindness, but keeping your power with that kindness. I also talked about the bystander that sees it happening. If you see something, say something, where people often go wrong, they start attacking the person doing the bullying. But that's giving them exactly what they want. They're getting that attention. I like to focus on giving them focus on the person that's being targeted, right? Build somebody up instead of ripping somebody down. Just focus on, hey, don't worry about them, you're awesome. Ignore that, negative, and build somebody up. That can make more of a difference. Also understand that when it comes to like things like teen suicide and stuff like that, there has been an uptick with it. Okay. It's so important to have open communication with your kids on this stuff. If they're going through something, I mean, middle school, high school, not an easy time. I ask parents all the time, want to go back to middle school? College? Yeah. It's hard. Trying to figure yourself out, dealing with cliques, the drama. It's all out there. Make sure you're building your kids up as much as you can. Having that open communication of like, hey, if you're ever going through something, come to me, because here's what's going to happen. Let's say they are going through something and they're having dark thoughts. Maybe they feel like they can't go to you. They're going to their parents. What are they going to do? You're going to Google it. You're going to go on a chat and like, this is what I'm feeling. What should I do? And now they're going to get advice. Sometimes not the best advice, sometimes it's horrible advice from these people that are out there that don't care, that don't have the same value. This makes it really important to keep that communication going. This also goes back to that whole monitoring side of things. I mean, even younger kids, 10, 11, are taking their lives. Child Data Protection Act says anybody under 13 shouldn't have an online profile. Well, part of it might be online strangers and predators that are out there, but also just the amount of content that's out there that they're getting access to. It's hard to decipher what's real and what's not. Just some things to think about. When it comes to online safety, I won't mention this tomorrow, but I'm going to mention it to you guys really quick. When it comes to texting and driving, understand our kids are watching us. I remember my son was about 2, 1.5. He used to love my pushing him around a little Mickey car. Little Mickey car, I love that. Pushing around, all of a sudden one day I looked down there, he was steering with one hand, talking imaginary phone with the other. Where did he learn that? His mother. No. I'm pretty they're paying attention. So I try to make it a rule right now that whenever I'm driving, if I have my kids in the car, I'll be like, here, text mom and let her know that we're on our way. I want it. You might not even have to text. I'm just going to hand them, you want to do this because I need to stay focused on the road. I'm hoping that over the course of the next 5 years, that message will sink in, that it's important to keep your eyes on the road and not on the phone. Just something to think about. We understand that there's a lot of online challenges out there. What I tell kids when it comes to online challenges, check with your parents first. If it's just stupid, great. Why? Because you can let them do the stupid ones because you want them to come to you for the deadly dangerous ones too. If you hear about stupid things, just understand like, hey, you're going to have people that are going to be out there challenge you. These are the people that are like, yeah, do it. These are the people that, you know, they're not really your friends. You're more there for their entertainment, right? Like, yeah, watch, she's getting hit by a car, it's going to be awesome. Like, they don't care about you. They're doing it for their own entertainment. They're doing it for the likes, for the attention. It's not worth it. Just keep those things in mind. When it comes to meeting people online, Sometimes it could be people online, game online with people, they have no idea who they are. Sometimes they think they're talking to one person, in reality might be somebody completely different. Now there's a big misrepresentation of who the danger is. Here's what we do know. About 1 in 5 are solicited to, typically, both boys as well as girls, typically between the ages of 11 and 15 are those that are being targeted. They usually do go online and research them. They're going to see everything about them. They want to understand who they are. That's why gaming is an easy one, because we can chat through game. We already have something in common. And as we're chatting, I'm able to get more information from you and kind of build that profile. Maybe it's often also the kids that maybe aren't that popular, that are going through something because they're able to sit there and give them lots of compliments. They want to be like knight in shining armor. And this happens over weeks, months, the whole grooming process. Their whole goal is to actually become their friend. They want to gain their trust, and then they'll look for the opportunity. What does that look like? I was speaking in Alaska. There was a girl there. She was 10 years old, gaming online with this guy. Thought it was somebody at the same age. They went from gaming online to talking on Snapchat, because when it comes to gaming online, you have certain parent monitors, right? Like Roblox, for example, has parent monitoring. You can see things. So certain language will raise some flags. Instead, we're going to chat through here, then we're going to go over here on this other social media app that's not being monitored. So we can chat through here instead of here. Well, over here, he asked for a picture, an appropriate picture. And at first she's like, no, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, I just want. Just Snapchat, it'll self-delete. Okay, just one. Takes the picture, sends it. He said, send another one. She said, no. He said, well, if you don't, I still have this picture, because with Snapchat, you just do a screenshot, you still have it. I'm going to take this picture and send it to everybody. Your parents are going to find you humiliated unless you do this. It's extortion, what's called blackmail, basically. This is what can happen. Not only with strangers online, but also sometimes even in relationships, people that you actually know, face to face. And tell kids if anybody's ever doing anything like this, if you ever find yourself in a situation, you need to do exactly what she did, where she went to her parents. And the parents went to the police. Because the police will have people, if something's happening like this, where they can at least direct you if they don't have in-house, they can direct you to resources that can help you with these types of things. There's another girl, I was speaking down in Texas, there was a girl there, she was 14 years old. She was gaming online, she was talking to this guy online. She got in a fight with her parents. I hate this house, let me get out of here. Like, your parents are crazy, I wish you were here with me, we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. She said, I wish I was there too. For real, pick you up tomorrow. She went to school the next day, she had a backpack filled, clothes, toothbrush, she was ready to go. Fortunately, she told one of her friends what's happened. The friend's like, that's really stupid, but you're not going to listen to me, so I'm going to go get help. Told the principal got the sheriff. They found the guy in the parking lot waiting for him. Had a warrant out for his arrest for gatekeeping and human trafficking. As in, she was going to get in the car, be drugged, and gone. And how brainwashed she was for the next 3 or 4 months, she was still upset with her friends for telling on her, because she couldn't believe that this was that would have actually happened. You didn't know, couldn't believe it. This is another great reason why I like to have that monitoring. I also like to make sure I want to have the phones outside of the bedroom at night, having that central charging location. I don't want phones behind closed doors. I want to have them open area where people can walk, you can see, here's why we're doing this. And then lastly, I like to have, and again, age different, depending. But the last part, having access to all their devices. You should be able to unlock their phone. You should be able to unlock their computer, their tablet. All of that, you should be able to have access to. Phone's not a right, it's a privilege. You pay for it, or you pay for the plans, or they pay for the electricity to charge it. You have access to that. Can you imagine being in a situation where you needed the information there? It was in your hands, but you couldn't actually access it. So yeah, I totally believe in monitoring. I totally believe in making sure that you always have access to these devices. Not that you have to go into it all the time, but just make sure that you do have it. The internet predators between the ages of 18 and 55. I tell kids if anybody's ever asked for pictures, ask them to meet up, ask them personal questions like, whoop, warning flag, block and delete them, tell them I don't. Overall, be careful, think before you post. Especially when it comes to certain inappropriate images, which we're not going to be covering tomorrow, but just for you guys, just thinking about this. You might think, why would somebody send something like that? Well, acceptance, pressure based on somebody you love. Well, somebody's going to like you or love you based on what you are and not willing to send them digitally. That's not going to be a healthy relationship. Truth. So these are conversations as parents that we need to have with our kids. Now you can also sit there and say, all right, why else would they do it? Maybe they see other celebrities have done it. Heck, even the Amish. Maybe they have cell phones. But maybe because someone's begging you, pleading. I say, but they're not going to send it out for me, so you take that picture. You send it out. I find that if you tell kids what to do, then they do the complete opposite. So instead, what we can do is kind of guide them through it. All right, let's say you took that picture. You take that picture, you send it out. Now what? Well, we sent it on Snapchat, 1 second, send. It's going to self-delete. What happens if they do a screenshot? Now they have it. But they promise not going to send it to anybody else. What happens if you guys break up? We're not going to break up. We're going to be together forever. Forever. If you break up, is it always cordial? And you're like, hey, we had a good time. No, sometimes it can be emotional. When you break up, does it ever get emotional? Yeah. When people are emotional, do they sometimes do things that they wouldn't normally do? Yeah. Maybe if you broke up with them and then all of a sudden they're going to be really upset and they want to hurt you, just like they're hurting. Maybe they do take that picture, they send it out. And now it's no longer in your control, because now all of a sudden it might be sent to at least 3 people, and every text is seen by at least 3 people. Then it might get sent to another person, and it keeps on going. As soon as they send it to a third party, that's when the DA's office can prosecute for things like this. So if they receive it, and they send it out to another person, that's what the DA's office will prosecute. You spread that. Now that's distribution of child pornography, that's child pornography. That's the big difference maker right there. And these laws do have serious effect. Like Derek here, who's down in Florida, he was 17, his girlfriend was 15, he's now a registered sex offender in the state of Florida. And these laws are there for your protection, like the Amish guy who was sexually assaulted, a 12-year-old, showed up, and of course the buggy picked her up and found out it's actually an undercover cop. You can't make this stuff up. When it comes to sexting, I always think about like the mom rule, right? You wouldn't want your mom to see it, don't say anybody else. I think that's a great rule about anything you're about to send online. Like this girl thought it would be funny to imitate someone with special needs and post it up online for everybody to see. Why? Hanging out with her friends, think something's funny. There's another girl that recorded herself breaking up with her boyfriend online and then posted it up online for everybody to see. How's he going to feel the next day when that gets out there? Or maybe this 14-year-old thought it'd be funny to make an AR-15 out of Legos and snap it out with a caption, "Don't come to school tomorrow." And was surprised when the cop showed up at his door. Sometimes kids look like, but it's Legos. Yeah, you can just draw a picture of a gun and post it there. Seriously, people can somebody see as a threat? Yeah, then that's what can happen. I was just joking. Jokes don't come across online. Sarcasm doesn't come across online. In fact, just imagine whatever you're on. If anybody's not going to get it, then don't post it up online. Pretty simple. Because there are people looking at this. Colleges are looking at it. 12 students that got accepted to Harvard, they were found in a private chat, sharing some really hateful posts. Well, those got screenshotted and sent over to Harvard admissions, and there was. Colleges look at this stuff. Companies look at this stuff. Common reason why people don't get accepted or get rejected. Bad-mouthing their current school or past school, current job, past job. Bad-mouthing other people, just negative, and especially when it's vulgar and a lot of profanity. Posting pictures of drugs and alcohol in photos. And posing with weapons. Typical reasons why people get rejected. And even though we think we just delete it later, the internet's not written in pencil, it's written in ink. It is permanent. So what's the solution? Math. I'm going to show you a number. I need you to say the number out loud. Show you a second number. Add the 2 numbers together, say the new total out loud. Show you a third number. Add them all together, say the new total out loud. You get the point, ready? 40, 1,040, 1,070, 2,070, 2,090, 3,090. But it's 3,100, but thanks for playing. What? 1, 2, 3,000. Boy, it was 30, second was 29. This has 100, not 1,000. So okay, we're only 900 off. Hopefully no accountants here. But what happens? You go really fast, you make a simple mistake, it makes a big impact, right? As I said in the beginning, with great power comes great responsibility. A simple mistake make a big impact either in your life or somebody else. So before you hit send, just stop and double check your math. What I want to post about me or someone I cared about, what I care if it's on a billboard for everybody to see, what I care if it's lasted forever, good, send. If the math doesn't add up, then don't. Because we can say it and forget it, you can post it rather regret. Because anything that you send or post digitally can will be used against you in the court of life, which is the truth. So that's most of the stuff that the kids are going to see tomorrow. A few additional things just for you guys. Understand that if you're looking at things, looking at a post or looking at a text, it's something that happened, and you go, what is that? I want to look it up. You never know. Scroll up, see what it actually means. You don't need to be on every social media channel, but whatever your kids are on, you should be on. You should friend them. They should accept your friend request. My kid won't accept my friend request. It's amazing how fast they can lose their phone when that happens. Yes, the phone's not a right, it's a privilege. It can be taken away. If you ever have to, have you guys ever had to take kids' phones away yet? Isn't that a fun experience? You just take it away like, it's fun, right? Now, here's one thing I would recommend. Instead of like taking it away, like, you lost your phone for 2 days. I don't like time limits. Instead, you lost your phone, 2,000 points. How do you get the points? Off the kitchen floor, 50 points. Yeah, that's right, make them earn it back. And it's very nice to see all the faces like, worth going just for that. Yeah, you want to earn it back. It's not right, it's a privilege. I was talking at school and I had a parent come up to me and he's like, yeah, my kid now, he gets home, he goes right upstairs, he goes on Discord and chats with his friends, and we talked about the screen time. He got really upset with me at that, and he's like, you can't limit me, you can't control me. And he's like, I'm right. No, you still have certain control. And we talked about the phone. He's like, and he broke his phone, so then he paid for the phone. So now he says, no, this is my phone, because I paid for this phone. Like, no, you replaced the one you broke. And who pays for the actual bill? Well, we still do. Then you have that control. So understand, you have that control. Not a right, it's a privilege. Being able to set this up. In fact, if you go to dynamicinfluence.com/resources, you'll find a social media, under the social media resources, there's actually a parent-to-teen cell phone contract. You can print them out, have them sign it. And then you have guidelines. That's the hard part, right? It's the guidelines part. If I don't have anything, what am I? Well, you did that wrong. Well, I didn't know. Now you do. Here's what I expect. I expect that if I talk to you, you're going to look me in the eye. You can lose your phone, and you'll have to earn it back. You'll have a central charging location. All the things are actually in the contract. You can add or subtract whatever you like in it. But I took a bunch of different ones and collaborated the best ones and put it in there. Now, when you do try to friend them and find the thing, understand they might give you a fake account. The Finsta account, right? They're on Instagram, for example, they're like, yep, here's the one for you. And then they have another one for their others. How do you know? Well, easiest way is if you go on their device, you click on the app, you go to account, you'll see multiple right there. And now some of you also might be thinking, I hate Snapchat though, I don't get it. Perfect. Sit down with your kid, have them teach it to you. It's fun for you and excruciating for them. Oh my God, how did you get it? Here, just click like, which way do I swipe? It'll be fun. Just have like, it's a bonding moment, really. Providing reinforcement, having open discussions. If you hear disturbing news, remain calm. So as soon as you're like, why would you do this? And that kind of shuts down and stifles the communication. So if you need to take a moment while utilize current events. If you hear things, ask them about it. And I always like whenever I hear something, I always like the approach of asking questions that leads them down the path to where you want them to go. Because if you just tell them something, then they're going to be the exact opposite, right? I don't know at what age it happens completely. I mean, my daughter's 10 already, like, you don't know. But we have that. If I say something, they're going to be the complete opposite. They'll even come and ask for your advice. What should I do here? This, oh, that. Instead, that's where you have to turn in from a coach to a consultant. The consultant part is when they come to you with a question. What should I do here? What do you think you should do here? Answer the question. What would happen here? What would you do here? What would happen if that happened? And now you want to ask them the question that leads them down to where you want them to be. Learning about the apps is a great resource out there for you called commonsensemedia.org. It rates the different apps, gives you the pros and cons for each one. It's rated by both the child as well as parents. This is also great for any type of games or even movies. It gives recommended pages for things like that as well. Setting the limits, maybe having that scheduled family time. Maybe no phones during a vacation, or definitely at least not during dinner time. Setting limits, maybe no screens after a certain time or weekend. And as much as they hate it, I think it's best if we have that discussion with them first, right? Understanding, yeah, not all of the content, all screen time is the same. If you're doing something productive, I'd much rather that. Here's why we're doing this. Use me as the bad guy. I fly out tomorrow. You can use me, I'm good. But creating that structure, getting that buy-in when it comes to creating the guidelines there. Having the docking station at night, the VASC rule, again, leading by example. I know I covered a lot of information tonight, so there will be, you'll actually get a link to a recorded version of this presentation, so if you know of anybody else that wishes they could be here but they couldn't, you'll be able to get that, and you'll be able to still access it for a limited amount of time. And then there's going to be an additional, there's a portal, there's an education portal that has the parent portal that has all this information as well as additional information that can help guide you throughout the year. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've talked about so far? Does anybody have any questions about something I didn't talk about? All right. Well, that is all my information right there. Any other schools, organizations, anything like that? I do have cards up here, so you're welcome to grab one and stay connected. I'd appreciate it if anybody does know of any other schools in the area or anywhere else that might be interested in something like this. Please let them know about me. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for taking the time to be here. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you have any questions for me that you didn't want to stand up and speak up in front of everybody, you're welcome to come up and ask them as well. But thank you so much for having me.